Let's get in Indiresh Batra, MD of Jindal Saw, essentially, but also of Hexa Tradex, to speak about the listing per se and how the outlook ahead for this one could be. Probably a couple of questions on Jindal as well. Indiresh, good to have you. Thanks so much for joining in. Congratulations on the listing. Tell us, Indiresh, just purely from how you looking at the company as well, the couple of notes that we've gotten speak about the investments that the company has in its portfolio, assign a particular rate of discount of around 60% to the net asset value, and come to somewhere around 200 rupees as a target price. I mean, without getting in your target, but you think that's the fair estimate which has been put in for the kind of investments that you have in your portfolio?
You know, as of yesterday, the asset value, which primarily is the shares which Hexa Tradex hold, is about 2,300 crore. At peak, it was about 3,200. If I divide that by number of shares, the book value is about 420 rupees. For us, you know, that's the value of which is being unlocked and given to the existing shareholders of Jindal Saw. And money has no color. I mean, the discount, I'm not very good with understanding as to why one gives a discount compared to an operating company. Because the shares which this company holds are of an extremely good quality, first-rated shares, and I'm sure they have a great visibility in terms of their earnings. So I'm a little surprised by the opening price. But my sense is that there would be some discount given the fact that that's the way the whole market thinks about it, whether that's 60, whether that's 40. I won't be the guy who could be, you know, commenting on that. But the book value of the company as of yesterday is about 420 rupees.
What's the way forward, Indiresh, for this company to grow? I mean, how do you essentially, of course, hope for the investments that you've made to yield returns over a period of 1 year, 1.5 years, 2 years, or however you define your investment goals to be. But how does the road ahead look like? If you can throw some color on that.
On Hexa Tradex, isn't that?
Yes.
On Hexa Tradex, I don't think, you know, there would be pretty much, you know, anything beyond what we hold. I'm sure that we don't really want to churn that portfolio because we see value in that. The shares which it holds is primarily Jindal Steel and Power, a great company in terms of its plans, its the kind of the shareholding returns over the last 10 years. I mean, this company stands out. Or Jindal Steel Southwest. I mean, it has a class 1 rating. I do not believe that we would be actively churning out the portfolio or doing anything. It just holds shares. We believe over the next 5 years this can double, and that's where it stands. And that's the value which is in hands of Jindal Saw shareholders. And this was in response to what the feedback we were getting as to what do we do about certain value which sits in Jindal Saw, but there is no market value attached to it. Today you can hold that share if you think there is a value because it's trading at 1/4 the book value, and then take a call. For us, it's an investment portfolio. It would stay that way.
What are plans as far as you know, your approach towards investments are with Hexa Tradex, and given that it's an investment arm, how do you look at deploying the money or the cash that sits on the books?
You know, we had two options. The option was that when the company was part of Jindal Saw, we could have liquidated those investments, bring in the cash, and, you know, do whatever we think was right at that moment. Would be either invest the money into the expansion of what we believe is the company's core business, or we could have given a dividend. But we felt that, you know, the liquidation of the assets at that level to generate cash was not the best option, given that we believe that this was not the right time to liquidate them. Over 5 years, probably, you know, when the value of this company from 2,300 goes to 5,000 crores, and this is hypothetical, but I believe at some day, you know, the kind of the shares these companies hold would have a more value than what is reflected in the books today. So you are flexible as to what you are going to do, but the flexibility also passes away from the promoters to the individual shareholders. I mean, they can take a call. That can also become a wealth creation option just by being shareholders of Jindal Saw.
Okay, you know, purely from an investor perspective, how lucrative is the listing of such an arm, you know, given that, as you pointed out, some of the liquidations can lead to more cash on the books and thereby perhaps increase the potential of a dividend?
You know, this process took about a year. You know, we definitely have very large institutional investors. They had a very clear call as to how they wanted to act. acted management to do and follow a certain process which we have done. I'm not now going back to the merit of this. I think this was the unlocking of the value. This has been a very standard practice across the globe. If you hold an investment which has a reasonably large value, which is not captured in the operating market capital of the company, one way to do this is to list it. Now you're unlocking it. There must be a value. The price discovery today can be lower than what the book value is, but that's not going to stay that way. My sense is that it has been, this is the right thing to do, and eventually market price discovery is a process which takes time. People would try to understand the business, and hopefully it would have a fair value and a good reward for the shareholders.
Okay, Indiresh, can't let you go without just maybe a couple of questions on Jindal Saw as well. We understand you are in a silent period, so we won't ask you numbers or how the quarter has been, but just a couple of updates, mainly on the mine start. When does it happen? I mean, I believe the earlier guidance was June with maybe a couple of months of delays factored in there. Is that still a reasonable estimate, or do you believe that they could probably trickle down slightly further?
As of today, the mining should go online on June. That was the guidance. We got delayed because of the power availability, which was the case, but we are very close to the tail end of that. My sense is that in June we would be starting feeding our blast furnaces in Mundra with our own iron ore, which itself is a great, it's a good trigger. Today we buy fines at 7,000 rupees. Availability of iron ore per se is an issue. The regulatory landscape which has changed has made that a very important ingredient to how a metal company runs. I think this is June, maybe 10 days here, 15 days here. It's a very difficult call for me to be precise on that, but as a management we are very focused and committed to 30th June that we would be in a position to start our beneficiation plant, and by March 2013 we should also follow it up with a pellet plant. And given today's pellet economics, it looks to be an extremely profitable business. Our Abu Dhabi ductile iron pipe plant had commissioned last month. So the things were with, maybe we are delayed by a year, but the execution atmosphere in India, one always underestimates how much difficult it is to execute projects in India, given the fact that everything that can probably take time takes double the time you plan for it. But Jindal Saw is going to have a strong visibility in earnings, and the triggers which we thought would be available last year should be available in this financial year.
We hope the same as well, Indiresh, for you and your shareholders. Thanks so much for taking the time out. Congratulations on the listing of Hexa as well. We'll of course talk to you, post your numbers and figure out how the year has been, and maybe talk some more numbers on how the year ahead could be. But thanks so much for taking the time out.